And then the map here, I was gonna go over this episode, but I didn't really have some time. I recommend you guys to take your time to really delve into it and see what it offers. Very cool design. This is the map of the A2HEROES world. And to the north, you have the Tarlum Wastes and the Sea of Ice to the northeast. And you have the point of interest, Slagus, south below that. In between the Tarlum Waste and the Storm Mirror Lake, you have plains. So the Storm Mirror Lake, it leads in from the sea, or maybe it leads out to the sea, one or the other, but it's connected to the sea through this narrow path. And you have Lee Kai to the west over here, to the northwest, Lee Kai, which is also a desert land. The Titan's Maw, very nice. And to the very west, to the extreme west, you have the Rift Spine Mountains, which act as a natural barrier, a natural fortification on this continent, preventing land-ins and things like that. Then you have Night Nail as well. Very cool. Very cool. That looks like a fort that defends a passageway between the Rift Spine Mountains and the outside world, and it prevents invaders or explorers from exploring too far deep into land. Then you have Rhetoric as well. You have Slagus to the northeast, and you have Rhetoric to the southwest. Then you have Hathzir Wood, so that's a forest of sorts. Maybe like Sherwood Forest, but that's Hathzir Wood. I'm sure there's lots of elves and gnomes and sprites and things around there in Hathzir Wood. Looking forward to seeing more of that. And then we have Rabaton. Rabaton, that's another point of interest. That's our third point of interest. We had Slagus as our first, Rhetoric as our second, and Rabaton as our third. I don't know what that is. An outpost, a village, a settlement, a town. I don't know. Maybe it's an outpost just based on where they're placed. I don't think they'll have cities in the middle of the desert, but I could be wrong. Then we have Zorath, the region of Zorath. We have the region of Clor to the west, which contains these four notable locations: Night Nail, Rhetoric, Hathzir Wood, and Rabaton. And then we have Zorath to the east, which contains these four points of interest. We have Ameth City, very cool. Looks like a fort, not like a fortress, but like a castle. Looks like a castle. So lots of trade and taverns and things going on. Then we have Mushroom Forest. Nice. That's going to be really cool to see. I'm looking forward to checking out Mushroom Forest, seeing all sorts of trippy mushrooms in there, and all sorts of dangerous monsters. Then we have the Harpin Grasslands. Very nice. I like grasslands. These are plains, much better than the desert. Then we have Klangith, which is right on the edge of the main continent, the southernmost point of the main continent. We have Klangith. Very cool. And to the west of Klangith, before we leave the continent and go into the Strait of Gales, we have the Bright Steel point of interest. And it's right at the junction of a river, so it's got to be a town. It's got to be a town of some sort. It's right at the junction of a river, and it feeds in from the oceans from behind the mountain pass here. So Bright Steel. So you could probably take a boat out here too as well. Who knows if you'll actually make it, but beneath Bright Steel to the south, you have Oron, the region of Oron, and the region of Oron has Sunspar, a castle at the southernmost tip. So this is the most southern location, point of interest, destination that you can reach on the main continent. Sunspar is the southernmost, and Titan's Maw is the northernmost, and they're both on the western side of the map. That's cool. And after crossing the Strait of Gales, you're gonna reach the land of Jeslam. So So this is where the Princess of Jeslam and Queen Thrang and like all that sort of stuff comes from. That's really cool. And Gold Sunder and all of them. This is probably where they're based out of. You have the Jeslam port, which is also another castle ripe for trade and market and navigation and festivities and restaurants and all sorts of stuff, like a major city right there on the coast. Imagine any coastal city. And then you have the Shibboleth Forest. The Shibboleth Forest, huge forest. It looks like it's a lot bigger than the Hathzir Forest, just based on representation. Maybe the Hathzir Forest is, not that thick, not that dangerous, but the Shibboleth Forest is incredibly thick, incredibly dangerous. That's terrible, holy. And then you have the Narusk. The Narusk is a point of interest in a location as well here. That's very cool. I'm going to see what Narusk is about when more information comes out. And I'm going to make a tabulated list of all the locations and points of interest here so we can have a quick reference. And then south of the Shibboleth Forest and Narusk, we have the Ghost Willow, which is the Ghost Willow Forest. This is interesting. It's got to be a magical forest of sorts. Holy. And then you have a sea monster, like a sea serpent over here to the west. So these waters are traveled by monstrous creatures. We have like a sea king or like a leviathan over here. Holy, okay, that's kind of cool. And then we have Dusk Gate all the way to the west over here, south and west, which is another point of interest. So there's 2 points of interest so far in Jeslam. We have Zenog to the westernmost point, and then to Samask, to Samaskuk. That's pretty cool. Then you have the outer sea to the west over here, and then you have the inner sea to the east over here. You have a mountain range going along the western spine of Jeslam. That's very cool. I like this map. I really like this map a lot. I love what they've done with it. I love the attention to detail. I love the names and locations, the places, the colors. I'm excited to see the peoples, the languages, the cultures, the trade, the sorts of goods and services that they offer. I'm sure there's like explorers and like guides and stuff. If you want to get all the way to Titan's Mall, you probably can't walk all the way there, right? You probably need like a guide of some sort. So people who are experienced in that, like guilds and stuff, explorers, that can help you. If you want to go to Mushroom Forest, I'm sure there's poisonous mushrooms there, or really, really like potent, powerful, medicinal mushrooms too as well. And so you can source some really cool magical ingredients from Mushroom Forest. That's going to play a part in the story, I'm sure. You can probably take them to different trading ports like Amath City or Penal or Jeslam Port. So after you source it from here, you can trade it in all sorts of different directions. I'm going to be excited to see what some of that is like. It's going to be incredible. And the bodies of water that we have here, just to end off the video, are about the Sea of Ice, the northernmost, the Storm Mirror Lake in the middle of the continent, the Strait of Gales, the Sea of Ice, the Storm Mirror Lake, and the Strait of Gales. Those are the 3: Sea of Ice, Storm Mirror Lake, and Strait of Gales. Strait of Gales is then separated into 2 seas, the outer sea and the inner sea. But there's 3 main bodies of water here. So guys, that was incredible. Thanks for joining me for this video. I'm going to be making more in the future. Let me know down below what you want to see. And the first people to comment will definitely get a reply back. But check out the website, put in your name for the email list, and definitely stand ready to pre-order this. This is going to be a life-changing, game-breaking release when it comes out. It's going to take the entire industry by storm. And it'll be an honor to see that from the front seat while it happens. So take care for now, and catch up later. Bye-bye.